Now recently, I decided to try a medley of supplements that I kind of looked into online. Generally, I don't do heavy supplementation, but with what I went through last year, and then me coming up on being midlife this year, I decided to give these specific supplements a go and see if they really had any effect on me. So for a quick backstory, I've been active pretty much my whole life. You know, I was in a lot of athletics as a child and as a teenager. In my 20s, of course, I went through like the heavy lifting, getting super strong, you know, wanting to have like a bodybuilder's body phase. And I did try a bunch of different types of supplements in my 20s, mass gainers, different types of proteins, creatine, like all these things that, you know, you read about in magazines that were supposed to make you bigger. Kind of came out of that phase a little bit when I found MMA, and I kind of got into martial arts in my 30s. And I stripped down my supplementation around that time because I started training more functionally, and I just didn't see those things as being helpful. And I just kind of stripped them away. I just wasn't doing supplements. I think since my 30s, or for the last like 15 years, I've just been doing different types of vitamins and like whey protein or EAAs. And by the age of 40, I pretty much hit the physique that I kind of always had clamored for. You know, of course, it was kind of a goal, but I was still training primarily to impact my martial arts. But you tweak a few things in your diet, and you just end up with a really good physique, something you could be proud of. So I moved past that, and man, I'm telling you, around 40 to 42, I felt in the best shape of my life. I was really strong, getting stronger, and I was super fit. I did have some problems, but I was dealing with them. Nothing so severe that I couldn't do all the things I was doing. And I do a lot. But it's weird, man. Like last year, I just took a nosedive. Just at the age of 44, my body just kind of like, it's like everything decided to kind of collapse at once. I was dealing with multiple like injuries, with a strain in my bicep head, some severe bicep tendonitis. I mean, so severe, guys, that I couldn't even like hold a jacket comfortably. This was hurting so much. So I couldn't train my biceps. I developed some issues with my rotator cuff, and I couldn't like grip people. So grappling became very difficult. Fortunately, as those things were coming about, I was already fixing some issues with my knees. So my knees actually got stronger last year. This year, towards the end of last year and this year, I've really strengthened my back and done some great things. And so my back is no longer an issue, but my back was a huge issue. It was just one thing after another. Then there was some exhaustion. The muscle fatigue was serious, and I just couldn't recover the way I used to. I just, for the first time ever, really started to feel my age. And I hate saying that because I pride myself on the fact that I never used that as an excuse. For the first time, my body started to make me feel old. So anyway, that brings me to this point. I decided to go ahead and let's look up, you know, what supplements should I really consider taking that are, you know, as close to natural as possible, nothing enhancing. You know, I don't want to go down that road really ever if I could avoid it. So here are the supplements that I looked up or came across in my research, and that I thought, okay, if I took all these things together, what would that do to my strength, my recovery, my overall fitness? Of course, my gains, you know, how does my physique gonna look? And just generally, how does it make me feel? Again, coming off of like the ups and downs of last year, I was genuinely curious. Now, here are the supplements that I looked into and decided to try for this video. And on that note, here is my disclaimer. I am not endorsing these products or these brands. I am also not endorsing the use of any supplementation. I am just documenting what I experienced. I am not sponsored by any of these brands shown, and I simply picked them up at my local supplement store. So what do we got here? Of course, we have whey protein. We all know what whey protein does, so I am not going in depth on that one. Next, we have EAAs, or essential amino acids. It's pretty much the same as whey protein. Some say it's just a more expensive version of whey protein, but they improve muscle growth, increase endurance, and reduce post-exercise soreness. Next, we have beta-alanine, and beta-alanine enhances performance by increasing exercise capacity and decreasing muscle fatigue. It also has antioxidant, immune-enhancing, and anti-aging properties. I have glutamine, which just helps speed up recovery, and it can also help with your immune system. Next is leucine. The only reason I'm taking some extra leucine is that I did read that some extra leucine can increase your rates of protein synthesis. And there you have it, the supplement medley that I have taken for the last 30 days. So week 1 was pretty average. It's pretty much the same. My recovery from all the other things I was doing was going well. So I was able to train at a clip that I really was happy with. I don't push my strength too much. I maybe do one heavy day. Again, my training is generally functional. So no huge leaps that I can really speak about that I felt or saw. I think it was pretty average. Now, week 2, I think I could see some changes in my physique a little bit, I guess. I don't know if my strength went up. I feel like maybe it did. Again, I do maybe moderate weight with high volume. The volume that I was doing did feel easier, right? And I did feel, again, my recovery was getting better into week 2, but I was also continuing to do physical recovery means, so it could be a marriage of those two things that made me feel better on that front. My fitness was just high level at this point. Again, it was probably just a progression of the training that I do, just getting fitter and fitter and fitter. But yeah, it was a good week. But again, no leaps, nothing that's like, oh my God, I felt like super strong, or I felt like I could train forever, or just, I just didn't see anything significant at that point. Week 3, I feel like I did see some mass up. Like I massed up a little bit, but again, so minuscule. Like these gains aren't huge. Now in week 3, one thing I did notice was cognition. I was kind of impressed, but I did notice that I was a little sharper. Now this is something I've talked about in previous videos. I don't know, the last couple years, going into my mid-40s, I'm getting a bit of brain fog. Now in week 3, I did get injured pretty severe. I dislocated a rib while grappling, something that's never happened to me. So it was kind of a shock, and there was times I felt I could train through it, and I pushed pretty hard, just making sure that I knew where my limits were with that. And I would continue to hurt myself, and it was getting better some days. It just would get worse. And man, when it got bad, when it popped, it hurt bad. It would drop me to the floor. So that was a factor, and it inhibited my ability going into week 3 and 4, which were the weeks that I was really going to look at maybe testing the strength aspect and really pushing the numbers on the weights a little bit to see if that was something that was of benefit from these supplements. But it became very hard to do. Even in movements that I felt comfortable with, I began taping it up to kind of protect it. And then when I went to my doctor, it was made pretty clear to me that I needed to just take time off, period. He kind of knows me, and he knows that I won't take time off. So he did give me some pretty starch warnings as far as like, you could do some permanent damage if you don't let that heal properly. So I just pulled back into my more functional type of training, and I felt like I didn't put myself at risk doing that. But again, there were still always moments where it would just pop out of place, and it would just, the pain, man. So that's where I am now. Like I trained through that happened about beginning of week 3, end of week 2. I trained through week 3 and I'm in week 4, finishing up week 4 training with that. And it feel like it is getting better, but I just didn't get to really push on the weight. So I am finishing the video right now, because I said I was doing 30 days, I did 4 weeks, but I don't know, had I not dislocated my rib, could I have gotten stronger, and could I have massed up a little more? So I'm not sure how much of a difference it would have made. I mean, I train so frequently and so intensely that I feel like I still got good results, even given my injury and my need to really pull back just a little. I wanted to keep it close to my current training as well. Like I don't do heavy lifts anymore. Maybe I sneak a heavy day in once a week, or when I'm doing some accessory lifts, I'll throw some heavy lifts in, but I just don't train that way anymore. So I guess this keeping it closest to my real way of training is the smartest thing to do, because it gives me the results, the real results of if I'm training the way I usually train and I'm eating the way I usually train and I add these supplements, what do you get? So here I am, day 30. I'm not ripped, I'm not jacked, I'm not buff. I'd say I'm rocking an above average middle-aged dad bod that is representative of my age and fitness goals. I feel like at a glance my body does look different, but I don't feel it's a significant or massive change. Speaking of mass, I don't feel like I gained much size, but I can see a difference in my physique that I'm happy with. So let's talk numbers. Things appear to have stayed pretty level. I gained 1 pound, and that pound seems to be muscle from the fat-free body weight numbers and the slight increase in my muscle mass. Body fat stayed pretty much the same, so everything looks pretty even aside from that 1 pound. Now, this video wouldn't be complete without some measurements. These were taken in a relaxed state, so I wasn't like flexing my biceps or anything like that. The things that stand out here the most are gaining almost an inch in my chest and losing a few inches in my lower body. Now I can say comfortably that I couldn't hit strong leg days for the last 2 weeks due to my injury. As I mentioned, I just couldn't do heavy compound lifts such as barbell squats and deadlifts. In the end, I feel really good and seem to recover from workouts much faster. I feel really fit and suitably strong in my workouts and very solid in my martial arts training. So my conclusion is that these supplements have certainly helped me with recovery and performance, but it didn't help with size that much. I'm sure it can be argued that the dosages could be increased, and I'm certain I didn't meet the bro science standard of protein intake. Let's just say I took the minimum dosage across the board. I don't feel like I need, nor do I really want to take any more than that at this time. So I'm happy with the performance, cognitive, and recovery benefits, and my final physique. Although minimal, I'm very happy with it. Thank you for watching, and please be sure to like and subscribe.